So this is the fourth video on logistic regression, and in this video I will be explaining how to predict the classes for the model that we have built with the parameters that we have estimated, and also we are going to see how to evaluate the model that we have built. So these are the two broad points that we are going to cover in this short video. And before starting the video, let us take the uh, review of what we have seen so far. In case of the logistic regression, we are not predicting actual levels for a given observation, but we are predicting the probability for the class being probability of a particular observation belonging to the class 1 using the sigmoid function which is equal to the reciprocal of 1 plus e to the power of minus beta 0 minus beta 1, and here beta 1 times x, and here the beta 0 and beta 1 are our model parameters, and these model parameters can be predicted using different methods. Like the most easiest method is to use the ready-made modules that are available in packages like SPSS, then R language or the Python language, or otherwise we can build a gradient descent algorithm or numerical algorithm to predict beta 0 and beta 1. We have seen how the beta 0 and beta 1 are estimated in our previous video. And once we have got the estimated the parameters of beta 0 and beta 1, those parameters we can substitute in this equation where the beta 0 and beta 1 is, and x is our input observation, and based upon these parameters we can evaluate this expression, and we will get one probability which is in the range of 0 to 1. And if this particular the probability that we have obtained after evaluating this equation, we can compare it with our critical probability. Like for example, the critical probability is 0.5. Then all the classes that belongs to all the probabilities that has the less than 0 point value, that can be predicted as 0, and all those having greater than critical probability, predicted probability is greater than 0.5, then those can be predicted as 1. So this is the strategy that we use when we are building the logistic regression model. And suppose that uh, we have got these beta 0 and beta 1 values for the data set that we are considering, like the coronary heart disease age related data set, in which we are going to predict the whether a person is suffering from the coronary heart disease or not, based upon his or her age. And this is the data set that we have seen, which included about 100 entries. Here I am showing only 24 entries in this sample, and in this sample there are 24 entries are there, but in the actual data set there are 100 entries are there. And suppose that by using the gradient descent algorithm, we have got the values of beta 0 is equal to minus 5.30, and value of beta 1 is equal to 0.12. And when we substitute these values in the previous this equation, we will get this expression, that is the predicted probability is equal to the reciprocal of 1 plus e to the power of, in the bracket, 5.30 minus 0.12 h. Here we have just only substituted the values of beta 0 and beta 1 that we have got after executing either the gradient descent algorithm or Python's scikit logistic regression module from the Python's scikit library. And suppose that if we have got the set the critical probability to 0.5, then all the probabilities that has been predicted by our model with these parameters, beta 0 equal to minus 5.30 and beta 1 equal to 0.212, then if the probability is less than 0.5, we will classify it as the 0, and if the probability is greater than 0.5, we will classify it as the 1. 0 means a person is not suffering from coronary heart disease, and 1 means the person is suffering from the coronary heart disease. Let us, for example, age equal to 28. When we substitute the value of 28 in this equation, we will get a probability after solving this expression, that is equal to 0.12, and 0.12 is less than 0.5. That's why we have assigned the class 0. See here, the 28 is assigned, the predicted class is 0 here, and the actual class is also 0. Now let us take another example in which the age is 60. When we substitute the age equal to 60 in this equation, we will get a probability value 0.86, and the 0.86 is greater than 0.86 is greater than 0.5. We will assign the for 60 there are two entries are there, and we will assign the label 1 and 1. And if you observe here, the actual value is 0, but our model has predicted the value 1, means that this is a wrong prediction. And in this particular case, the actual value is 0, and this is also the value that is predicted by our model is also 1. So this is the correct classification. And if you see in this particular table, here the CHD stands for the actual value that is present in the data set, and CHD dash stands for the value that is predicted by our model with the parameters beta 0 equal to minus 5.30 and beta 1 equal to 0.12. And if you read this table, then there are some entries in which both the value 0 and 0 are there, means that it is the correct prediction. Then another case is there in which the actual value is 1 and the predicted value is 0. This is the wrong prediction. And there is another set is there when there is actual value is 1 and the predicted value is also the 1. This is the correct prediction. And there are fourth type of entries are there in which actual value is 1 but the predicted value is 0. So these are the four types of entries that you will get when you have predicted the values with the model that we have built. And now these four instances we are going to give specific names, like in suppose that a true positive means the actual value is 1, means the value that is observed in our data set is also 1, and the predicted value is also the 1. So these types of entries are called as the true positives. In our data set, in this particular example, how many true positive entries are there? There are two, means both are the 1, so there is only one entry is there. See here, there is only one entry is there, and this entry is called as the true positive. Now similarly, there are other types of entries are also we can see. In case of the second type of entries, see here, in case of the false positive. False positive means the actual value is 0 and predicted value is 1. See here, actual value is 0 and the predicted value is 1, means that the entry should have the value 0 and 1. So how many entries are there? The 0 and 1. So this is the 0 and 1 entry is there. See here, with 60. So these types of values are called as the false negatives. Sorry, false positive. So this entry is called as the false positive, and there are only one entry is present in our table. Similarly, if the actual value is 0 and the predicted value is also the 0, then that kinds of entries are called as the true negative. How many entries are there? True negative 0 0 means 0 0. This is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 entries here in this and oh, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So there are true negative entries are there, 18 true negative entries are there. Similarly, uh, if the true value uh, if the actual value is 1 and the predicted value is 0, then that kind of entries are called as the false negative entries. And how many false negative entries are there which are of the type 1 0? 1 0 means see here 1 0. This is first 1 0 and this is second 1 0. This is third 1 0 and this is fourth 1 0. So these types of entries are called as the false negative. Once you have predicted the values, you need to calculate how many true positives are there, how many true negatives are there, how many false positives are there, and how many false negatives are there. Then those entries you need to count, and those counted entries are represented in a table that is called as the confusion table. In this confusion table, the call here CHD stands for the one, and CHD here this is the actual value and this is the predicted value. This is the see here, these are the actual values and these are the predicted values. And if the actual value and the predicted value is same, then that is entry is called as the true positive, and this cell corresponds to the true positive. In our case, the true positive entries are 1. Now if the actual value is 1 and the predicted value is 0, then those entries are called as the false negatives. And how many entries are there? Those entries are 4. So this cell is called as the false negative. If the uh, actual value is 1 and the predicted value is also 0, if the actual value is 0 and the predicted value is 1, so those entries are called as the false positives. And and how many entries are there? Those entries are the 1. If the actual value is 0 and the predicted value is 0, so those entries are written in this cell. And how many values are there? There are total 18 values are there. And if you have this is with respect to the critical value set to the 0.5. Now, in this slide, we are going to define few additional metrics that are called as that are used to evaluate the performance of a classifier that we have built. Here, we have built a classifier using the logistic regression modeling technique, and there are three different parameters are there which you can use to evaluate the classifier, and these metrics are called as accuracy, second is called as the precision, and third one is called as the recall. So here in the previous slides I have defined what does it mean by true positive, what does it mean by the true negative. And accuracy is a ratio of TP plus TN divided by total observations. In our this particular case, there are 24 observations are there, and value of total positive is 1 and value of total negative are 18. 18 plus 1 19 divided by 24, it will come around, accuracy will come around 0.79. Similarly, the second matrix is defined like this: precision. Precision is the ratio of true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. And how many true positive entries are there? True positive entries are 1, and true positive plus false positive, there are both are 1, and 1 plus 1 becomes 2. The precision is now in this particular case it is 0.5. Recall is a ratio of true positive divided by the summation of true positive plus the false negative. In this our particular example, the values of true positives are 1 and values of false negative are 4. So recall will come around to be 0.2. 0.2. So these three different metrics are used. Accuracy should be nearer to 1, that is considered as the best one. And all these ratios are always in the range between 0 to 1, and the ratio, the values that are closer to the 1, that are considered as the better. Here we have got the better accuracy. Precision is moderate one, but the recall is very poor with these 20 samples. Now there is fourth matrix is also there, which is called as the F1 square, and F1 square is a ratio of twice the multiplication of precision and recall divided by the summation of precision and recall, and it will come around to be 0.28. And again this is also in the range between 0 to 1, and the F1 score closer to the 1 is considered as the better one. Now let us consider that, let us check, let us change the value, critical probability value. We have taken here in this earlier case our critical probability value was 0.5, and now let us consider the critical probability is 0.2, and with this 0.2, what we will get that if we have set the critical value 0.2, then all the entries with the age greater than 33, greater than and equal to 33, we will be assigned to is suffering from the coronary heart disease. And this will change now our confusion table. See, with this new critical probability value, we will get a completely different confusion table. And now we got here the true positives 3 means true positive means in the cells both one CHD and both are 1. So this is first, this is second, and this is third. So true positive entries we have got 3. Uh, False negative are 2. False positive are 5, and true negative are 14. And with this now, the accuracy will be reduced to the 0.7. Precision will be again reduced to 0.3, 38. Earlier it was 0.5, and recall has been drastically increased. See, 0.6 is the new recall. Earlier it was the 0.2. Recall was 0.2. We got a different results with critical probability value 0.2. Now let us change again the critical value to the 0.7, and in the 0.7 what will happen that the age with having greater than 50 will be assigned coronary heart disease level, that is 1 and there are only such two entries are there, and all rest of the entries are 0 0 0 0 0 0, and with this new values, with this new critical value PC equal to 0.7, we will get the exactly new confusion table. Now we got a true positive one, false negatives now are there are 4, false positives are 1, and true negatives are 18. And with this the accuracy is slightly increased 0.79, precision is again 0.5, and recall is reduced to the 0.2. The important point here I would like to mention is that the accuracy, precision, recall are all depends upon the critical value that we have selected to assign the label, and you will get the different results in different situations. Now with these different critical values, you can plot a graph of two. On x-axis you can take a false positive rate. A false positive rate is defined as false negative. It is the ratio of false negative to the summation of false negative plus true positive, and y on the y-axis true positive rate, and the true positive rate is the ratio of TP true positive divided by false negative plus TP. And with this, you will get we have got different FPR and different TPR. For the critical value 0.2, FPR is 0.4 and TPR is 0.6. With TC is 0.5, FPR is zero point 0.8 and TPR is zero point 0.2. With critical value 5, 0.7, you will get the FPR of 0.8 and TPR of 0.2. And if you plot a graph of TPR versus FPR, you will get a graph like this. And this red line indicates that FPR and the TP are same. So if the FPR is 0.5, the true positive rate is increased, that is 0.8, and this is for the this graph I have plotted for all the 100 values that are present in the data set. So this basically this graph is called as the receiver operating characteristic curve, and the area under the receiver operating characteristic curve for this particular case, this is the area, and this area is about 0.73. Larger the area, the better the model is. This receiver operating characteristic curve is basically used when you have built a classifier model using more than one technique. So far we have seen the classification techniques of logistic regression, but in the coming videos we are going to see other types of classification model like LDA, linear discriminant analysis, and then neural network, then decision table. Then you can compare the performance of different classifiers with respect to by using the receiver operating characteristic curve. So the classifier model is basically evaluated using four different parameters: accuracy, precision, recall, and F1 square. And if you want to compare the performance of two different classifier curves, then you can use the ROC curve. So this is about the predicting the value. In order to predicting the values and evaluating the performance of the classifier that you have built. Thank you.